I didn't let my best friend have her wedding on my property after being uninvited. I own a small coastal inn I inherited from my aunt. Picture weathered white siding, navy shutters, wraparound porches, and decks that look straight over the ocean. At sunset, the horizon turns molten gold and the waves glitter like glass. It's the kind of place that makes strangers pull over just to take photos. Over the years, I've hosted small weddings there, barefoot ceremonies on the beach, lantern-lit receptions under the pergola, the kind of celebrations where the photos end up looking like they belong on the cover of a lifestyle magazine. 2 years ago, my best friend Claire booked it for her wedding. We've known each other since middle school, survived braces, bad haircuts, and teenage drama together. When she got engaged to Eric, she immediately asked if she could get married at the inn. I didn't hesitate. I gave her the friends-only deal, just enough to cover my staff and food costs, which meant she'd pay a fraction of what any other bride would. I even blocked the entire weekend so she'd have the place to herself. For months we planned it together. She wanted soft driftwood tones, airy fabrics, wild greenery tucked into glass bottles. I found a local baker to make her cake, tested out custom cocktails for her signature drinks, and even scouted a new acoustic duo because she'd mentioned wanting live music during the ceremony. Then 6 months before the big day, I get a 3-sentence text from her out of nowhere. Hey, so, small change. You're not invited anymore, but we'd still like to use the inn. We'll call you later. At first I thought it was a bad joke, but later came, and it wasn't a joke. Apparently she'd met someone new while still engaged to Eric and called off the engagement without telling most people yet. This new guy, Jason, worked in finance and came from a more sophisticated circle, as she put it. His family thought my inn was too casual for their image. They wanted to redesign it to look like a Hamptons estate. Tented reception, imported orchids, champagne fountain, valet for the 3 cars that would actually fit in my gravel lot. The part that really got me, she said they didn't feel comfortable having me attend because I'd been so close to Eric and it might feel awkward in photos. She framed it like she was doing me a favor. So let's be clear, I wasn't invited to my own property for my supposed best friend's wedding, but I was still expected to hand it over for free. I told her I'd think about it. What I actually did was start taking bookings for that weekend. 2 weeks later, she called in a panic. The yacht venue they switched to had double booked, and her fiancé's family was furious. She said they'd graciously decided to return to the original plan, my inn, and even offered to pay the full friends rate if I could just clear my calendar. I told her with the calmest voice I could muster that unfortunately the date had been rebooked. She was stunned. Who would book it on such short notice? She demanded. Someone who actually invited me to their wedding, I said. She went off crying, saying I was ruining her happiness, accusing me of revenge. I didn't bother explaining that I'd already watched her walk away from a man she'd once sworn she'd spend forever with just because she thought she'd found someone shinier. I wasn't about to hand over my home to be the stage for her latest performance. The day that would have been her wedding, I set up chairs on the bluff for the new couple who'd booked the inn. They were quiet, sweet, and so grateful for every little detail. When the bride walked down the aisle barefoot, the tide pulling in behind her, I felt nothing but relief that this was the couple getting married here, not Claire and her too casual venue speech. I didn't block her on social media though. That night, I posted a single photo, the sunset spilling across the ceremony arch, the couple's silhouettes framed perfectly, no caption. Later, I heard through mutual friends that her perfect engagement had lasted 4 months. Jason had moved on to a real estate agent he met at an open house. Claire's last public post was a quote about removing toxic people from your life, which I assume was about me. That's fine. I kept my property, my peace, and my self-respect. And every time I host a wedding now, I remember how close I came to letting someone treat my home like a disposable backdrop for their drama. Never again.